we are here to give you a general introduction of what is CIBIO, and of course to introduce you with the program that we offer for master course. So CIBIO. So CIBIO is the Interdisciplinary Center of Mind and Brain. And we have an MNC for main intervention. And we have two main focuses, so research and education. And they are all very close, interacting throughout the master, and you will experience that. So when it comes to research, our focus is to study the brain architecture throughout several and multimodal.
Can you share from your computer? It's not shared for online.
Yes, sorry. Just a second. We did share it before, but. Oh, sorry. This is. Better?
Yes, and I'll see it.
Okay. Right. Yes. Back to the point. So, two main focuses: research and education. Research, we focus on studying the brain structure throughout the several methods, from structural, dynamic characteristics of the brain, and both in normal and pathological patients. And this is very closely interrelated with the type of education that we provide. So our main goal is to train the next generation of scientists in mind and brain. Why interdisciplinary? I'm going to give you an overview of the type of activities and research activities and training that we provide here at CIBIO. We also have a very strong focus on translational approach. So some of the laboratories where we perform research, where we do research here at CIBIO, also translate their findings in clinical settings. And finally, training. So we have a very, very strong focus on training with this research-based learning. And this will become very clear when I will give you a review of the different courses for the three different tracks that we offer here at the Master Course in Computer Science. So a few extra words about this research-based training and learning. You will see that most of the activities that you will like courses and internship and thesis project have a very strong focus on hands-on experience. So almost half of the program is hands-on, so internship and research project. And many of the courses also that we provide, in addition to the theoretical courses, are very much focused on experience, hands-on experience. So you will learn how to analyze data, how to plan experiments with this golden rule. So in-person presence is fundamental for this course, for this master. So interdisciplinary, let's see what we mean by that. As you can see, let's see if we can. So as you can see from this graph, a large portion of our research PIs, research staff and PIs come from a background in psychology and cognitive science. Then we also have a proportion of research staff from information engineering, computer science, cellular, computational, and integrative biology, physics, mathematics, medicine, linguistics, and more. So this creates a very, very exciting research environment where people with different expertise can join together and create new opportunities for collaborations. We are also very international. 30 of our 80 students are like spaces, reserved for international students, plus we have many EU students and also and also this extends to our PhD program, students that are part of the PhD program, or research staff, and PIs. So this creates a very international and multicultural research environment. So, as I said, education and the research are the two main focuses of CIBIO. I'm going to give you an overview of our degree program and the courses that you will follow, and also the different research laboratories and the techniques and the topics that we investigate. So when it comes to the research, the education, we are here for the presentation of the Master in Cognitive Science, but this is embedded within a very larger, let's say, educational program, which comprises also the PhD program in Cognitive Behavioral Science, which allows very nice interaction among students at different levels, from PhD to master degrees. But we are also taking part in different master programs that are organized across different departments, from which you can choose several courses. For instance, the data science, artificial intelligence course, a master course in medical school, and also other courses that are more rigorous. Research, of course, is the main focus of CIMEC, and at the moment we have 39 research groups that cover within the very large umbrella of neuroscience, from micro to macro, different topics from human to animal cognitive process, the neural correlates, and with the use of a multidisciplinary perspective, like different methods from cognitive, neurofunctional, neurobiological, computational, just to give you a quick overview of the different topics. In words, these are the areas of research that we cover here at CIBIO, and you can go on the website and search specifically for these different areas. And these different areas are also declinated in different laboratories and different methods used. So the different labs that we have are the neuroimaging lab, which focuses on functional neuroimaging, MEG for the temporal aspects of our brain signal, or TMS. And this laboratory at the moment is currently moving from Mattarello, which is in the town between Trento and Rovereto, to Rovereto now, so it will be even more accessible. We also have the IPL and the ClickLab laboratories here in Rovereto. So the IPL is the experimental psychology lab, where you have psychophysics, eye tracking, EEG, kinematics, multisensory, and we also have the baby lab, so to study how the brain develops in the first months and years of life. The Click that focuses on language interaction and computation. We will get a better overview of this lab from Roberto, because this is the reference laboratory for students that apply to the CSC. Then we have the ACN track for animal cognition and neuroscience. And again, here you will get a better overview of the activities that we carry on in this lab from Hoover, and because this is the reference laboratory for the track. And then finally, we have the CHERIN, the Center for Neurocognitive Rehabilitation. And we're also research down here, it's then applied in critical settings. So just again, in terms of topics, multimodal imaging of cognitive process with the MRI and the neuroimaging lab. The behavioral aspects of cognitive process is the focus for the IPL. For the Click, the focus is the study of language and the interaction with the other cognitive functions. The ACN is focused on neurobiology in different animal species, and then CHERIN for the diagnosis and the treatment, and also research in different cognitive functions, from motor to language to perception. So as you can see, this is a very general, very large overview of like the topics that we cover among these laboratories. So our focus, international focus, is not only in terms of like student community and research activities, but also in terms of dissemination. So every year we organize several workshops, international workshops that attract colleagues across the world here in beautiful Rovereto. So for instance, we have CIBIO and House, which is held in a couple of weeks here in Rovereto, and also the attention works. So these are very important moments for CIMIC to strengthen the network with our international colleagues. We are also very much involved in open science, and we regularly organize workshops on the topic of open science, part of this network, the SAFE movement, which we are part of, a larger network. And finally, we also, in terms of the student opportunity, we are part of a larger network of universities, for instance, with the LCT program, international program, supported by the Erasmus Plus program, also the double degree with the system, and also the close collaboration and interaction with the IIT. So I will also give you a general overview about what are the opportunities after attending this master course. So most, as I already mentioned, and as you can imagine, the focus on research is very important. So many of our students carry on in academia with PhD programs either in Italy or international programs, because this is really like the goal, the main goal of our program. But the type of skills, research skills that we will acquire here are also very much, let's say, researched by companies outside academia. For instance, this is the list of some of the companies where some of our students are now working. So with the nowadays very relevant area of research-related jobs, then the skills that we acquire here are very much important also if you think about the career path outside academia. So just one last word about future developments for CIMIC. So now I showed you that the different labs are located in different buildings within Rovereto, but also outside Rovereto. But we are currently moving all together at Manifattura, which is here in the green spot that you see here in the map. And this is a very important step for CIMIC because it is interdisciplinary in like core of this center will be even more strengthened with the possibility for us to live all within the same roof. So, okay, this is just the general overview of what is CIMIC and how it can be the life for students here at CIMIC for this master program. I will give you now a general overview of the three tracks, and then we have three presentations from each of these tracks, very brief presentations. Then we will give you information about the administrative related topics that you might be interested when it comes to registration, when it comes to applying. And finally, there will be a moment for questions and answers. And then the most important, I think, the one that you are looking forward the most is the moment where you can really talk directly with the student that is part of the ICT student, that are part of part of the master, one part of the bachelor degree, that can give you first-hand experience about how it is to live in Rovereto and also how it is to study here actually. Okay. So the master course in cognitive science. So as I mentioned, we have three tracks: the cognitive neuroscience, I will introduce briefly. The computational theoretical modeling of language and cognition, CLC track, and the fundamental behavioral neuroscience, FBN track. So for the cognitive neuroscience, so basically this is a really the course where you learn to study and investigate cognitive functions from perception, memory, attention, and navigation, language, numerical cognition, creativity, consciousness, and also how the brain develops throughout the first years of life. So overall, if I can give you a distinction between like general psychology and cognitive neuroscience, with general psychology we study this brain function from outside with behavioral methods. Instead, with cognitive neuroscience methods, we can open a window into the brain to study these cognitive functions directly from brain activity measures. And these brain activity measures are like either spatial, like functional neuroimaging, where we ask participants to perform different tasks, and we look at how the brain responds to in different conditions, and we analyze the spatial pattern of the data, or temporal solution. We are also very much interested also in the networks of that support these cognitive functions. And so not an area works on its own to support function, but all areas in the brain create networks that support complex functions. And also from the structural point of view. As I said already, from the developmental point of view, which is a very important aspect to understand how the brain develops and the brain functions change throughout the first year of our life. So these are all the methods I already shown you before that we use and with which you will have first hands-on experience throughout the 2 years of master. I give you a general overview of the courses in terms of compulsory courses, but this is just an overview because each year we have new courses depending on the expertise of our staff, but also the, let's say, requirement that we see and in general the state of the art in neuroscience field. So for now, our compulsory courses have a core of cognitive psychology and cognitive neuroscience courses, theoretical courses, but this is all supported with more practical courses for neural foundations, brain imaging, neurolinguistics, and also very practical courses that will provide you with the skills that are necessary for any direction that you might take in your career. Computer programming, research design, analysis, how to create experiments, and how to analyze data. But these compulsory courses are then also supported by a large number of constrained and free choice courses within the area of neural foundations, animal cognition, cellular biology. So within the areas of brain imaging, again, with many courses that are really hands-on, where you will learn how to collect and how to analyze data. Then we have like scientific communication to learn how to present in front of the public, mathematical basis of cognitive science, fundamental knowledge for any type of path, research-oriented path, and then all the courses that are provided within the area of neurolinguistics and how language interacts with other functions. So this is just a general view of the courses from which you can choose. So then this makes clear that you can really shape your degree towards the interests that are more close to you. Okay, so this is just the general introduction for the CN track, and then I will leave the floor to Roberto, who will give you a more detailed description for the CNC track, and then converge for the FBN track. Thanks.
Questo. Mastermind introduction. So my name is Roberto Zamparelli. I'm a linguist, not a psychologist like most of the other people here. And I'm the person responsible for the CLC track of the Master of Science. So the CLC track is voila. So is a track which is focused on language and the relation between language and other cognitive functions. And we teach a variety of courses, but in general, grouping them into big topics. There are topics that there's a group of courses that is concerned with the theoretical linguistic foundations of language, looking at language mostly from a generative and cognitive framework. That means syntax and semantics, means the difference between language and other cognitive abilities. Then there is a group of courses that refer to modeling language using computers, which is a very important topic these days, I'm sure are aware of. And that involves acquiring expertise in these topics means mastering a programming language, each Python, and learning something about machine learning applied to language. So we have both introductory and advanced courses. And in general, doing what is called the NLP, natural language process, which these days is increasingly statistics based. Python programming, computational language modeling, question answering systems are all things that we teach. There are people here that are very interested in the relation between language and vision, both in the way brain, but also in a current artificial system that can, for instance, recognize images. So one of those questions is to what degree artificial vision systems correspond or develop representations which are somewhat similar to the way the representation brain develops. We have also a more applied set of courses, thanks to collaboration with the research center at BK in Povo, Trento. And that means using NLP, natural language processing, on a variety of use cases, which go from irony detection of fake news, data preparation for training artificial systems, sort of more applied. And then we have general courses that could essentially are fundamental courses for anyone that is interested in working in experimental sciences. That means the ability, teach the ability of setting up an experiment and analyzing the results. So to now look more at the individual courses, and keeping in mind that some of these courses sometimes change from year to year due to various movements of faculty. The general idea here is modeling language recognition, and that can be divided into 4 different areas, which is computational, theoretical, experimental methods, and behavioral. On the computational, we have courses like computational linguistics, the programming Python course, machine learning for NLP, computational modeling of perception, and things like grounded language processing, you see it on top. What does it mean, grounded language processing? It means that a lot of today artificial models learn language simply by looking at huge amount of text, so-called text corpora. But grounding then means that together with the text, we provide images so that words like dog are associated not just with the words in the text, but also with the images and very soon videos of the animal. Then we have the intro to human language technology. That's the part that I was mentioning that is done by people like UK, for instance, fake news detection is a big thing at the moment. That's where we can study that. On the theoretical side, I teach intro to human language, the logical structure in natural language that's covered by the Zoom team on the top corner. I teach advanced topics in language recognition, and other people teach, for instance, logic, language, and computation. Behavioral, language and social cognition, semantics recognition, and advanced topic in reasoning and decision making, where you connect language with reasoning. And finally, as I mentioned, we have a set of basic methodological courses like research design, like linear algebra, and other courses, statistics that analyze the results. Our students, as Stefania mentioned, come from a very broad range of countries. Well, certain number come from Italy, of course, but we have historically had many people coming from Turkey, from Russia, from Iran, and then we have people from India, Japan, Greece, Ukraine, Americas, Canada, Mexico. So it's a very diverse and, in my opinion, interesting group of people. And as Stefania mentioned, there are also the contacts with the students in the other master program and in the PhD. As you heard, CIMEC is very focused on research, and a lot of the people take this master continue to do PhD in various research areas. So we might be asking, so what are the topics you actually do research on? What are the research questions to address? This is just a small sample because, as you have seen, we have many research groups. But for instance, one question that I find personally very interesting is the question of language universities. So, to what degree can languages vary? On the vision side, convolutional neural networks, the type of neural network, artificial neural network that are used to perceive images. They are used for vision. To what degree do they perceive the world as humans? Experiments on aligning models, representations developed by these artificial systems with brain scans. We actively do. On the going back to the language side, you have all been aware, I'm sure, of the progress made by AI systems that deal with language. ChatGPT and the successor. Nowadays, there is quite a pack of competing models. And one question that comes natural is to what degree these models, what do they know? What these models use language? What do they know about? So what is their meta-linguistic? For instance, if I say, Mark thought that John was looking at himself, what does himself refer to? Can the model tell you? And there is at the moment a lot of research trying to find out what these models know about language, for the simple reason that, unlike with other aspects of cognition, where we have animal models, there's no animal model of language. There is no other species here. So this is, in a sense, the first opportunity to study something which is not human, but uses language. Growing the interest here. Also going back to the universality of language, some of our faculty studies universal phenomena at the semantic level of meaning. So what are the universal features of meaning? For instance, what is the range of words that you express that you use to quantify things like all, some, no, not all? Is this number finite? Are there languages that use very strange quantifiers and no other languages uses? And if not, why? I've also, me and others, been involved into the issue of data collection. So we know, you know that a lot of artificial systems work by training on large amount of data. So what's the best way to gather this data? One of what you see in the picture is a web game that we have set up to try to collect data about process, about the way people use intonation to communicate. There are other initiatives besides. CLC is part of the Erasmus Mundus LCT, which is a network of universities that sets up a master where students spend 1 year at one university and 7 years at another. This means we have, this is actually at the end, this program is at the end, but still for the year to come, we will have students coming as part of this program, and this means an influx of very good people, very good students from all countries in the world, and that's so makes for an interesting connections also for the local master students. I mentioned that there is an applied side to studying language recognition, and that's under everybody's plans. So we know that web searches are based on some degree of understanding. So when you search something on Google sometimes returns things that go beyond the words you utter, because it knows tries to know what's behind your request. And there are increasingly many systems, you see Alexa or other systems that make use of advanced technologies that use language, information, vision. Translation is another field, and also there are health applications of various types, information, and the ChatGPT and other large language models that before. We are not, let me be clear, we are not preparing students who are able to directly develop the systems, also because the systems are developed by huge corporations with an amount of computing power which is beyond any single university. But what we can do is to try to prepare people who understand what's behind the system. So how they're trained, what type of data they need, what are their limits especially, and what are their biases. So what do our students become? We prepare future university researchers, but also we prepare experts in aspects of language and human cognition that AI systems could or should model. So if you are looking for a career as a creator of machine learning system, this is probably not the right place to apply to this, you apply to computer science department. But we can definitely prepare people for a career where they look at how to develop better training data for AI systems, or evaluate the performance of AI systems, or develop AI systems that are more brain-like. And in general, develop AI systems that meet human needs rather than running against them. So data enablers sometimes is the way we like to characterize our students. It's not the only thing you can do, but it's certainly important applied side, especially if you don't want to go into academia. This is our beautiful lecturers, and look at how fierce they look on the photograph. They're very friendly in lesson context, I assure you. And we are all sorts of people. We are linguists, we are logicians, we are cognitive scientists, we are neuroscientists, and we are computer scientists. Each of these is represented in this gallery. And let me finish with a gallery of the people we have taught. So these are people that have gone through our master, and so Daniel Lowe, PhD at Harvard, Marcello Lowe is now finishing a PhD in Australia, Cassani was at Tilburg University, Barbara Frank is a very prominent position in Munich now. Desi, he was Facebook, now it's moved. Adam Liska, he was working Spotify, now has founded his own company. and Tran, CEO of 3P, and Lucis Valle was hired by Google just straight out of a master, and her bachelor degree was skilled. So don't think that if you come from a degree which is not technical, you cannot do this. You can. And that's it. Then I'll answer to questions later on in this presentation. Let me give the floor to Uwe for the last talk. Thank you. Stick. Yes. You done. Right. This is is that it? Yes, probably. Voila. That's it, right?
Is this working?
No.
No, because it needs to be shared.
Yeah.
Go here. Stop. All right.
No, you have to stop. It's not stopping recording.
That could be it. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, hello everyone. So I'm Uwe. I will present you the fundamental behavioral neuroscience track. So, yeah. So what is behavioral neuroscience? Well, as the name says, on one side it deals with the behavior, on the other side with the brain. Right? So if you're interested in the behavior only, like psychology or something like this, or if you're animal behavior, you can specialize on one if you're interested in anatomy, structures, and so on the other. But in most cases, we want to understand how these two interact, because the brain is an organ that evolved to control the behavior. So we can modulate the behavior and to see what happens to the brain, or we can otherwise do something to the brain and see what happens to the behavior. This is what behavioral neuroscience are doing most of the time. This is a table on published papers with different animal species. Yes, humans are also animals, as you can see here. So humans, for those who don't know, we are not plants, so we are definitely animals. And we have a typical vertebrate brain, we are vertebrates. And we are quite egocentric animals. So we want to understand, first of all, what we are and where we came from and how do we function. And this is where we found most of our research is to understand the human brain. The problem is we have some ethical concerns and we don't necessarily can open up brains and look what happens there. So we are using animals for this research. So this is where you see the second thing is basically research on mice. And you could wonder why not monkeys, right? If it is the case here. I will come to this in a second. So and now we have all of the other animals, other mammals, primates, blah, blah, cats, birds, reptiles, amphibians. So you see that neuroscientists are also working with all the other of animals that have brains. Okay, coming to monkeys, what's the problem with monkeys? Similar like with humans, high cost, small sample size, limited control of experimental conditions. Maybe you can even control better with humans probably than you can control with monkeys. And of course, ethical concerns are quite high because these guys are behaving very much like us. We are primates. So there's not much of a difference. We may have noticed already. So most of our studies we are doing with rodents. And rodents allow you to keep the cost low. You can work with very large sample size. You can do very well-controlled conditions. There are some experiments where you can have a population of mice that are genetically identical, for instance. So these things you cannot do with humans. So you can do quite a lot with rodents, mice, and rats are probably the most famous ones. And they're still mammals and they're very closely related. So one can do a lot of disease-oriented research or even a normal behavior, normal research, or normal brain functions. So this is to say to you that a lot of neuroscience is happening outside the human brain, and we infer on the functions of the brain mostly from what we know from mammals. Recently, we have developed techniques like fMRI and so on that we can look also in the brain of the humans. In the past, it was not available. Okay, lower ethical concerns. We have ethical concerns. We need to apply ethical proposals. We need to treat animals properly and so on. But there is kind of a linear degradation. So if you go like to insects, you have less, and yeah, at least when you work with plants, you probably don't have any. So now the question is, why do we need all the other species? Well, these are all vertebrates. They have some basic organization of the brains that is similar. So in yellow, you see the cerebral hemisphere. This is the cortex. So you could be also interested in how normal brain works. And in this case, comparative research is very important. So we want to understand how the structure of the brain is changed across different animals. What implication does it have on the cognitive abilities? So we are also studying cognitive abilities in animals. As you know, some of them are very cognitively developed. Here's a cohort using a tool. Cohorts behave if you task systematically like monkeys on cognitive tasks. And then you can go with smaller, simpler brains like artifish, can do things like we do. So you want like to see what are the boundaries of these brains with different shapes, what is an animal doing. So if you ever wondered what is animal thinking and so on, then you're right here. And this is probably where also the word fundamental comes from, because it is not necessarily disease-oriented. We want to understand the basic, the fundamental aspects of the brain, how a normal brain functions. And I think we need first to understand how normal brain functions before we can understand how disease functions. So these two fields are not disconnected, they're interrelated. You can get specialized based in interest. I personally never did anything disease-oriented, and I hope I will not be forced to do so in my future because it's really not my interest. Okay, fundamental behavior neuroscience track is centered on animal neuroscience. So if you are interested in animals, working with animals, how they work, we can teach you this, and you should definitely work with them track. What animals we have here? We have mice. I personally work mostly with birds. I did a little bit with fish, but we have people specialized on fish and on mice. Mice usually disease-oriented. With birds, we are, yeah, in some cases of disease, but in most cases of basic properties. We have domestic chicks in our facilities, very important developmental model. So as you can see, it's a young domestic chicks. We don't have to be kind. We use a very small, comfortable animals to work with. Zebrafish and other different species of fish, and we have also people working with insects. So you can also say like, okay, the brain is so complex, let's take a simpler brain to ask some very fundamental aspects. So simple brain, complicated methods to approach it. So it depends on the research question, or you have to choose an appropriate model. So we want to understand what is the neural basis of sensory cognitive functions in animals. So can it be think cognitively and things like this, right? What is it be thinking when it's like around, and how does it coordinate all of this? They still have very complicated brains and so on, for instance. Methods, we have a variety of methods. Behavioral measurement is absolutely essential. We cannot make interviews with animals. Can you do this or that? In order to ask this question an animal, we need to apply behavioral analysis. You can do it complicated with using artificial intelligence. You can do it manually. It depends on the question, your interest. So we can train you the most common procedures. Conditioning, imprinting, neuroanatomical, histological preparations. We are cutting brains. We are looking into them. We are applying different methods. Single cell recordings. We are putting electrodes in the brains. We are recording action potentials. Two-photon calcium imaging, immunohistochemistry. You can say anything possible, structures and so on. Genome editing partly and so on. So here you can see some of this. So this is discriminating some illusions here of seeing this triangular shape. This is what I'm using very often to stay in brain activation. You can see single cells that activated the notch. This is a glomerulus of a bee. Here you can see a three-dimensional reconstruction of a glomerulus of a bee. This is hippocampus stained with some of a mouse, stained with some antibodies. This is electrophysiology. Here you can see the action potentials, and you can make a heat map and you have a stimulus presentation between this and this time when all these neurons respond. Yeah, and yeah, we have also MRI facility, and we don't have them, IIT have them, but we can collaborate with them. So we can have also MRI structural reconstructions in collaborations with others. Okay, so the whole degree centered around animal cognition and neuroscience and intelligence as half of the course of compulsory. You will guide it through anything. We call this course in the same way like the animal cognition neuroscience laboratory. You will go basically through all the variety of topics that we are teaching. Brain development and disease. This is mostly on mice and how can you use and manipulate as a brain development and that can lead to a normal development of autism and so on. Mostly taught was by Yuri in the past. Now he's correct, I don't know if he's still completely. Okay, then we have additional courses surrounding it, foundations of cognitive psychology, neuroscience, neural foundations of human behavior, neurolinguistics, let's say like what I'm doing this year, and then computer programming method. We have to consider that this track is still within psychology, so we have to fulfill some obligations. But it's not limited to psychologists. I am myself a neurobiologist, and I'm very interested in attracting students from neurobiology and biology. But psychologists are also welcome, and you get some courses. You can get specialized on animals. You can still go to psychology, not in the end, it doesn't matter at all, because you get a master in science degree, and you can still apply to PhD position or whatever. So you will be master of science in the end, coming out of it. Computer programming MATLAB, I think it's essential for everything that we will do in the future in particular. We have everywhere data. If you study a little bit of behavior, then you will have a lot of behavior, a lot of data. You probably need to handle it somehow. So this is a course that goes through all the tracks. You will get introduction to it. It is not for those who you already probably had some computer experiences. You will be probably a little bit bored here. But for anyone else, you can start, and how to use this, how deep you dive, depends on interest. Very often you will be fine with doing some simple statistics with R. Yeah, so it depends. If you go in electrophysiology, you can also start modeling it. Yes, and then you have free choice courses. We clustered them in the fundamental behavior neuroscience in two parts. One is something like comparative neural evolution, cellular molecular neuroscience, and so if you take this package, you go definitely in the direction of animals. And if you take this package, clinical neuropsychology, current brain connectivity, cognitive neuroscience, infants, by the way, we also put them here because before they become wearable, they are more like animals. So we have comparative psychological research where we use chicks explicitly to test what is innate and as a model basically of innate behaviors. So, and these same studies are done in infants. So, but in principle, with this package, you can go back to psychology if you find after this beginning, or you say like maybe I'm interested to explore a little bit of animals, but I'm still a psychologist. And with this package, you dive more into the animal. And there are features courses from all tracks, so don't take these tracks too strict. They give you an initial starting point, but you can with features courses, you can make your individual combination, okay, like you like. So yes, you will be taught by all of our science people, neurobiologists, psychologists, cognitive neuroscience, and physicists. This is like another courses. We are an interdisciplinary center. We are trying to bring disciplines from different backgrounds. And this is probably, if we have something that's a big advantage of CIBIO, then it's actually this. So we can go across disciplines and we have them here around the corner. So you can move basically across and you will get exposed to anything related to the brain, whether it is language oriented, or is it behavior oriented, or is it animal or human. So this is, I think, the big advantage of us. SAMIC is a neuroscience center. There is not even such a clear definition of neuroscience so far in many countries, because it's an interdisciplinary field. So what kind of backgrounds? Well, any background is fine. You should, when you apply, you always pay a lot of attention to the motivation. Why do you want to enter? So I really recommend to read the descriptions of the tracks. Try to choose which track is really fitting most to your interest and tell it to us in the motivation letter. We give a lot of points if you say, if your goals are very clear. So like, I was always fascinated how animals behave, and I really want to learn behavior science. Why I'm saying this? Because very often we receive letters saying, okay, they applied to fundamental behavior neuroscience, but they probably didn't visit what I'm saying here and didn't read our three descriptions. Because again, fundamental behavior neuroscience is animals. And if your interest is mostly as a human, you need to tell us why do you want to enter us. Maybe you say like, okay, I would like to see a human brain from the perspective of an animal. In a sense, I would like to explore animal behavior, animal neurobiology, and then go back to humans. Fine for me. Okay, because the goals are clear. But if you write, I'm interested in disease-oriented, I would like always wanted to work with humans and do behaviors, and I wonder why do you apply to us? Apply to the other track. You will get exposed to all the basics. You have to understand that you need to acquire the basics that in the future you can build a future from. Again, we are aiming that you all apply to PhD school somewhere and go to research. If you don't apply, as you said, no worries, you will find a lot of jobs. It's international, in English. I didn't find many people that finished the master successfully and didn't find a job somewhere sooner or later. I mean, you get a lot of qualifications, and it's up to you then if you can overbring how you acquire the skills. So we are providing the skills. That's basically it. The goals are to be an excellent knowledge, of course, right? Neural underpinnings of basic sensory cognitive functions, healthy animals, and an animal models of clinical condition. So this two is covered here. Up-to-date methods. We have modern behavioral neuroscience laboratories, and we introduce also how to record data, how to analyze it, and so on. And of course, we hope that you will develop your own critical thinking. You don't take everything that they say to you for granted. And I believe also if you quit science, we should implement a little bit of more scientific, statistic-based, reasoning-based arguments also in society. I think the society will become a better place. So communication skills are absolutely essential. We are teaching this also. And yeah, that you would make some very interesting experiments. Okay, thank you. Yes, enough.
Okay, so now it's time to give you some information about the administrative details for the application. Questo è per questo.
Ok. Se volevo Sì, ok. Ok, l'ho rivisto un secondo.
Morning, I'm Mr. Doctor, which was joining us, and I'm head of the computer sciences and psychology student services. I was asked to provide you some information regarding the mission, selection, enrollment procedure, so very technical contents, also interesting like the previous ones. And
Yes.
okay. First of all, number of places available. For European students, 50 places are available, but some places could be added after the, in case of non-new students considering to their days. Important to underline that there is no specific number of places for each track, so these 50 places are for the entire master course. The deadline for application submission is the end of May, and the compulsory admission fee of 15 euros you have to be paid before submitting the application. This is the link of the application online to sort on and complete before the end of May.
It's not visible from online, so.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, admission requirements. First of all, recommendation, please read carefully and thoroughly the book application, first of all. Secondly, the official requirements means a bachelor or higher degree obtained at least at latest by the end of September. So in case you're going to graduate in October, we know that it won't be possible for you to be admitted to master course. Second requirement, the knowledge of English language at least at B2 level. You can we assess your knowledge according to submission of certificate of knowledge to certificate issued by one of the official international institutions like Cambridge, IELTS, TOEFL by mid of September, or having a transfer records of your previous studies attesting the completion of one English university English exam at B2 level, at least, or a self-certification that English is your mother tongue, or a bachelor or master degree entirely taught in English. University of Trento offer this golden opportunity to students who have not the certification yet to take the exam for free at the University Language Center in 3 sections available: May, July, and before in September. So take care of having this certification at your English level. So. Admission criteria. Candidates will be evaluated according to 3 different criteria. Academic background, reference letter, the statement of purpose written in English, which the candidate are required to write a very original motivation letter, and then the relevance of previous studies and experience, like internship experience, work experience, research experience, around for these for the contents of the master course. The final application score up to 100 points, and the minimum point to be considered eligible is 50. The admission ranking list for European students will be published on the website by the end of June 24, and all the candidates will be notified immediately by email about the results. Admitted students with candidates in the first place will be required to confirm their place within a week, the latest, at least, and pay a confirmation fee of 100 euros. If admitted students don't confirm the place, they will be considered as renouncing the place, and we will scroll down the ranking list and notifying the admission to the other eligible students following the ranking list. The enrollment procedure going to start usually at the end of July. As professors already told you, this is a 2 years program. Classes are starting, give or take, in the second week of September. 120 credits have been acquired to be to graduate at the end of the 2 years of start out. Tuition fees, scholarship accommodation. The amount of the tuition fees is calculated according to economic situation of the students' families. Is for European students, Italian European students. On our website, you can also find a simulator of the amount of tuition fees you're going to pay. Tuition fees can be partially or totally reduced according to the economic situation of students' family, the so-called ISPE value. And students are supposed to have the university ISPE calculated at one of the tax offices, the so-called CAF, in Italy, the whole year from January to December. So every time during the year you can have this ISE calculated, and this is very useful in order to use your tuition fee this amount. Opera Universitaria is partner institution of University of Trento, dealing and managing scholarships, tuition fees, exemption, accommodations. And every year we take mid-June, the call for application for European students is issued by the Universitaria. It's a linked website of the Universitaria. Just to mention very quickly, some services provided by the University of Trento. I'd like to mention the amazing 6 libraries of our university. First of all, our quantitative science library here in front of this building, but also lots of tons of opportunities for practicing sports, going to the Unisport membership for students. Our language center where you can take exams and attend courses in English, of course, but German, French, Spanish, if you're interested in. Unitrento app, used by our students to check out class timetable, classrooms, record books, exams. Very, very important, the free circulation pass. Students allowed paying only 50 euros to move around within the Trentino region boundaries for free a whole year. So taking trains, taking buses, coaches, and so on. Very, very useful for students, also for students having accommodation in Trent, for instance, and study here in the and then canteens, restaurants, cafeterias, and every time I give a presentation and days, I really like to mention several mobility opportunities offered by University of Trento to students. Of course, the CIBIO, the Master Course in Political Science, is a very international environment, but we also have the opportunity to go abroad and carry out some mobility, also combining different mobilities abroad in the same year, usually the second year for master's course students. As mentioned, the Erasmus Plus for Study program, allowing you to go abroad to one of the university partners, European university partners of CIMEC, to take courses or doing research or internship. Bilateral agreements program is a very important program, allowing students to go abroad in non-European countries, so to United States, South America, Canada, Asia, and Australia, and attending courses at one of our university partners, and then 2 very interesting programs, mobility for traineeship and mobility for thesis research, for students to carry out, to spend up to 6 months in case of traineeship, or 3 months in case of thesis research, to do internship or to carry out thesis research abroad at one institution chosen by students themselves. To wrap up, on our web page and group page, you can find prospective students and the link to our master course website. You can find all this information more in detail and better explained. So read very carefully the call for application, and then of course you can surf and check out all the web pages related to this master course. Okay. They can see.
No, they cannot see this.
Okay, so just go on our page and search it. Thank you.